everybody.
I almost pulled the blunder. I was going to get a drink and pull the mistake of the century that I do every time is grab a drink before I start the show. Welcome, everyone, to the Wednesday Night Live show. We are back. Tim is here with us. Michelle is here with us. And we have two special guests. And they are from the Smokehouse in, is it Mill Creek, Utah, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Salt Lake City. So we're adjacent. We're part of Salt Lake City's zip code.
Yeah. Jason. I haven't been to Utah in a long time. I drove truck for 25 years, so I moved a lot of people out of California into Utah.
Hey, get ready
James,
for it.
Yeah,
It's gonna get worse.
Yeah, I'm next, North Carolina. James and Michael are with us, and we're going to dig into their story and how they got started. And also what they're dealing with here in Utah. A lot of things happening in Utah. I did a little digging myself the last couple of days, and when I knew you guys were coming on, and I'm like, God damn, I didn't hear any of this stuff. It's gotten to that point where I think people are going to start missing CASA here, because if they don't start going to CASA and paying attention to what's going on all over the country, it's one city, one state at a time, and it's insane for anyone in advocacy to try to keep up with what's going on. But we talked about that on the show, is how they're thinning us out, and they're doing a great job at it. And
they're doing a good job of dividing.
Yeah, they're dividing us and thinning us out. I mean, we can't be in 1,000 different locations at one time, and it's gotten to the point where it's like I hate saying it. It's almost gotten to the point where we almost have to start picking our battles, which battle is going to be more important. And that's not good. That is not good at all.
That's what I've had to do, is kind of decide I can't do everybody. So, just the worst, the worst of the worst.
I think too, I don't know if James and Michael agree, but I think a lot of our community is trying to focus on the federal side of things. And I think they are starting to forget that, you still need to know who your city councilman, you still need to know what's going on in your city. You still need to know who your mayor is and pay attention to what's going on in your own city, and not wake up one morning and realize you can't get coils, you can't get wire, you can't get e-liquid, you can't get this and that. And that's what happened to me. I mean, one day I walked into that same shop where I was able to buy RDAs, wires, custom coils, and e-liquid. You guys remember the early days of the vape shops where you came in, you opened up the flavor book, and you went through about 1,000 different flavors, and you told the guy, and he mixed it in the back. Those days are gone. Those days are gone. But we're going to dig into that. But before we get into that, I'm going to start with Michelle, because Tim's stories are they're so elaborate, and
they're so elaborate, and mine are so boring. I'm doing good.
he lives this rock star lifestyle. I mean, he's just jumping around. He's concert to concert. So, Michelle, how is your week going?
Oh, it's doing good.
That's it, guys. That's all you're getting from Michelle. Of course, she lives in paradise. Good. She lives in paradise, so it's always just okay.
But I'm doing advocacy all the time. So, but I did get to the beach a little bit this week. So it was nice. Yeah.
Not much really going on there. You got great advocates that are out there. Of course, we know one who's a regular on our show. And that takes care of things there in Florida.
Though, behind the
There's
scenes.
a bunch of tobacco. Florida Tobacco Fritters. Yeah, it's just a great organization.
But what's really weird about Florida is you still got the people who mix the coffee table drinks or vape. I mean, they mix literally still. And I mean, I live in a condo. The guys know this, but I live in a condo, and it's only like 300 units, and there's at least 2 of them that I know of that just sell out of their place. Because and this is in a free state where you can get stuff. I mean, we can get mail, we can all of that. We can go to the store, our local store, and get flavors. I mean, it may not be what you want, but they're going to have a wall full. So
mango, of course, right?
Weird.
Mango, of course.
I hate mango.
Shut up.
That's why he's saying it. It's like tennis shoes and wet socks and cardboard that's been mildewing forever. That's just the way I taste mango. So. I
don't hear you.
Oh, it's nasty. But anyway,
I would agree with you, but you like pineapple on your pizza, so we can never
only a bite or two. Only a bite or two. That's it. I don't want any more after that.
All right. Tim.
God, where do I start? I don't know. I lost so much time. I lost so much time in the last week due to having having house guests for a week. That included a 4-month-old infant and a 13-year-old deaf and nearly blind Shih Tzu. That was quite
what
the
a combination.
Yeah. So anyway, I won't get into the details of the visit. Let's just say it was it was a very stressful week. But ended it on a good note, right? So I don't even remember what we did the night before they arrived. That's how much of a blur it was. But the day after they left, we went to the home opening game for the local ECHL hockey team, the Atlanta Gladiators, who play right down the road at Gas South Arena, opening night, and they won 3-2 in overtime. So I have to say, for a week full of turmoil, it was capped off very nicely with a really good hockey game. And now it's back to business. It's
back to business, man.
Life as usual. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll have better stories next time. We've got all kinds of things coming up this week.
Hey, you went to a hockey game, man. You're one of I think 1 million people that still enjoy hockey. It's great.
John enjoys hockey about as much as Michelle enjoys mango e-liquid.
I stopped paying attention to hockey when we left Philadelphia and we moved here, and we were unloading our truck, their moving van, and we pulled the hockey sticks out of the back of the van, and the local kids asked us if those were weapons. Then I knew hockey was not a big deal here. When you look at a hockey stick, I don't see it as a weapon. They thought it was a weapon. I go, no, it's hockey. Never seen hockey before.
Yeah, we don't have a professional team here. So
not yet.
I'm left with the table scraps. So it's semi-pro. I found out that the guys make about $550 per game.
That's not bad.
What does that mean, John? That means they all have real jobs during the
day.
They
have real jobs. They're selling cars and working at convenience stores. Yeah, the way it used to be back in the day. James, how is your week going?
Great week so far. Thank you so much for having us on. Winterizing, getting ready for winter. So I'm not a skier or a snowboarder, but the lakes and boating is what we do big time here in the summer. And so got to get everything ready for the winter.
Heck yeah.
What my week has been, basically.
Yeah, Utah. I love Utah. I've always loved going there. And I actually love the fact that, a lot of stuff happens in Utah that I think a lot of people don't know about. But, I love reading stories about all the digs that are going on in Utah and all the bones that they're finding in those areas. And it's just amazing that you think you go to Utah and then you think at one point in time there were dinosaurs there, and you can't put those two things together. You know what I mean?
Oh, there's so many. One of our customers is older gentleman, maybe in his 70s now, but he's an artist, and he would go on the digs, and then he was the guy who would draw what the dinosaurs would look like.
Yeah.
He brings in full artwork. It's so neat. I mean, he's a really talented guy. It's really cool.
Yeah, he's interesting.
Yeah.
The thing about a vape shop is you get to meet a lot of interesting folks.
Hey, we all are interesting.
Yeah, sometimes
I just don't know how to draw really well. That's my problem.
No, my dinosaurs don't look. They look like horses.
First grader.
No, it's an interesting place, and it just kind of blows me away of everything that they're starting to find there. I'm waiting for them to find giants. When they start finding giants in Utah, then I know
That would rule.
Yeah. And Michael, how's your week going?
Well, it's going good. I've been looking forward to this. This is my first podcast experience, so thank you.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome.
We're honored.
It's not as bad as you think it is.
Yeah, we've been through a lot with this vape, but it's been a good ride, a good run, and we want to thank you. We want to keep doing it, but everything is just an obstacle for us.
Yeah.
And so I know we can get into it, but
yes,
we've met with politicians and different things like that, and we're still it's banned. And I think it has to come from the federal level before the states will change, because they all point to the feds as not approving PMTA for anything, and so that might be a few years in my mind, but but I do think in the long run things will prevail if we could just hang on long enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, everything comes down to federal funding. I mean, if these states want to get federal funding, they have to abide by those rules and regulations, and that's their stronghold on us. Is they know that they can do that to these states, and hey, if you don't follow this law, we're going to pull funding from A, B, and C, and it's just like it's ridiculous. Timmy.
Yes, sir.
You know what time it is? Say hello to those people out there.
I do know what time it is. And, shockingly, even after spending a week of just completely losing track of all time, I'm back on track. And so when we went to the hockey game the other night, they have two intermissions, right? So people are familiar with hockey. They have two intermissions, one between the first and second period and one between the second and third period. Not 4 quarters, not 9 innings, none of that. There's 3 periods, 20 minutes each. Anyway, but they have all these cool little contests usually in between the periods, and then of course the announcer gets on the PA, and before so one of the contests is everybody has to throw. I don't even know where these people get the damn hockey pucks, because there's 800,000 of the damn things, and it's for Kroger, the grocery store here, and they put the Kroger emblem thing in the middle of the ice, right at center ice, and then the O in the middle of the word Kroger is colored red, and if you get your puck inside the circle, all the way in, you get a $50 gift certificate. But 8 million people are throwing all these rubber hockey pucks. I want some. I don't know where they came up with them. But anyway, the guy got on the PA, and you know what he said? He said, "Hey, everybody, welcome to this week's edition of the Wednesday Night Live Hockey Show. Yes, we're going to talk all things hockey and vape tonight. Just want to welcome all the wonderful people back to the show. I know I was on hiatus for 2 weeks. I missed the show a week ago, and then we didn't have a show last week. But we're back. We're back in full effect. So let's just say hi to all the wonderful people in the chat, those who have chimed in thus far. And right out of the gate, it was me. I got the 25 experience with commenting first. So kudos to me. But right behind
you don't count.
Yeah.
Is it Michelle, when you have a contest and people who work there can't participate in the contest?
No.
Right.
All right. So I'm disqualified. Take my 25 experience points. Give them to Don Shirako Ayako in the house. He was first out of the gate. Good to see him. And we're discussing whether or not Bad Omen is a plant in the music industry. So we'll come to a determination sooner or later. We got Jeff, Danny boy, in the house. Good to see you, Jeff. Welcome back to the show. Good to see you back. And guess who showed up?
Who?
I don't think I've seen him in a hot minute.
The
resident pirate, James. James. Hey, good to see you, James.
Hi, James.
Welcome back to the show. And we've got the lovely Peggy at insert any company name here at Vape Cats. Good to see you, Peggy. Welcome back to the show.
Poor Peggy.
Poor Peggy. I know. I give her, and we got Steve, the Emoji King Tottenham, in the house. Good to see you, Steve. Welcome back to the show. We got 13 watching in. Be sure to chime in, chat with James and Michael. We're going to have a nice little conversation here for about an hour or so. John, back to you in
Yes.
the studio.
Thank you. I wanted to Tim makes me laugh. I'm going to put the website link for the smokehouse in the chat. You can check that out there. Also, their links are on the header too as well. And let's say hello to James and Michael. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hi, guys.
Hello. Thank you so much for having us.
Heck yeah. Like I said, we've been trying for a long time to get some shops on the channel to share their stories. And so I'm glad that you guys are coming on. We love hearing, we love hearing how you guys got involved in vaping in the early days and where you're at now and what you're dealing with. So I don't know which one of you guys want to start first. You guys want to do
pizza question first?
You want to do paper?
I'll give them the brief. I'll give them the brief history, and then you can take it from, because you met with the lawmakers and were more active in the lawsuit, and so it gives a good rundown, I think. So we got involved in vaping really early, before vape shops existed. My brother and I were going to college at UVU. He was studying business entrepreneurship, and I was studying philosophy. And neither one of us knew what we were going to do getting out of school. But we had a friend who was making juice just in his apartment. And he's like, no, dude, this is going to be big. He was an artist type guy, wasn't going to school. We were smokers. My dad was a smoker. My mom was. We were all smokers in the family. And just kind of caught on. We did the math one night. We were like, hey, we could make some money doing this. And so we started making e-liquid and delivering it literally to stores in our hands, these little bottles that we made at home. And we're like, hey, people like this stuff. So we started a company named J Juice, and we caught fire. I mean, we grew faster than we knew what to do with. Mike was still living in California and was an operations guy. We were starting to have truckload shipments and needed to get a warehouse and ISO 7 clean rooms and actual machinery. So we called my dad and we're like, Dad, we need help. He came up, brought a level of organization to J Juice, and things went great for a little while. We did that. Yeah, we did that very successfully. We were a white label manufacturer, so we manufactured for a ton of other brands. You had mentioned looking at like the menus. I used to write copy for flavors all over the place. And I remember when everyone went from like fruit flavors to like names. Yeah. And like, I don't know, how are you going to describe like Friday night live or Wednesday night live juice or something? Yeah. You'd be like, I don't know, to come up with something creative.
Mango.
Like just pure mango. It's double mango. So we did that. We were a little worried when the Obama administration was going to regulate the industry.
Right.
And so that's around the time we started looking to sell. We found some buyers and we sold that company. And Mike and I were sitting out there and in Utah, we loved it. We didn't want to move. And we knew so much about the industry and had gone to all the stores, done all the sales, knew all the people. So we networked and found a store to buy. We bought a little store there in South Salt Lake called the Smokehouse. Utah's a little weird about changing the names, and the licensing here is very complicated and difficult.
Right.
So we just left it. And so if anyone's wondering, ideally we would have named it to Smoke and Vape Utah, something real Google friendly and easy to find. Yeah. So then we bought the smoke shop and have had a blast. And really we converted. It was about half vape shop, half head shop is kind of the vibe we have in there. And loved it. We really turned that place around. We like to think of ourselves as like real kind of pillars of the community and really involved in keeping a good presence. Utah's a very religious state. There's a certain way people view smoking or drinking here. And we're aware of that. And so we take great pride in like the store has a 17-year history of not one sale to a minor. We've never had any issues with the state. We really pride ourselves on doing the best we can in some of these areas. And we've done some work with the legislature when we had our e-liquid manufacturing business, when they first started to regulate this new thing. So we had some experience dealing with lawmakers, but I have 4 kids and generally don't focus on politics all that often.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until the last couple of years where things really started to shift, and it felt like the crosshairs really started to get pointed on our industry here. And I come from, well, I guess generally, to give some background, like my parents are very, or my, the Deegan side of our family is all very interested in politics. They watch the news, they follow what's going on. We have those kind of discussions at the dinner table. And
Utah's a pretty conservative state. They've always
super majority. Yeah. Super majority conservative here. And this year, or I guess it was about 2 years ago, that we really started to get the pressure that they were going to try to ban all the flavors. And then you really had to start looking at what's happening like with your local elected officials, who's saying what and who's doing what. And it really got, like, at least the stores in the state, most of them, we got organized into the Utah Vape Business Association. And we gave a valiant fight. We did our best to fight it. And there's a lot of things that happen in there. But one of the more interesting ones is my mom became a delegate. She was very excited to be a delegate in our state and be part of the, part of the civil process here. But during the legislation to ban the vapes, it really gave Mike a window and an opportunity to go in and speak with, like, the president of the Senate, the floor majority leader, the woman who was sponsoring the bill to ban the vapes. And we were able to, like, really have some important sit downs with some real policymakers here. It didn't go our way ultimately, but I certainly have some thoughts about how, like, they're dividing, how just the vape industry writ large across America. There's 2 fights: the federal fight and then in your home state. And then there's this bootleggers and Baptist situation between big tobacco benefiting and then what's happening locally. And then that ties into master settlement agreement stuff. But I think there's a lot there that if more people understood how these functioned, they'd be able to make better decisions and fight a little bit more strategically in their own states as these issues arise for them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of going through some things on Utah. A lot of stuff I didn't really realize that. But how far, as the religious aspect towards raping there, with the Mormon population being the majority out there, is it looked upon as something as like smoking, or do they look at it as a harm reduction product?
I think most people don't think about it. Like
you don't think of it. Yeah, you're probably spot on with that.
Like, the Mormons here are great. Like, my neighbors are wonderful. I'm like, I served a mission and have left the church years ago. I'm familiar with it, and I don't view it so much as like they're religiously motivated, but there's no
pure stance on it. Yeah.
When they don't understand it and they don't think about it, and they've never been a smoker or a drinker, and they don't come from a culture that has that, I think it's real easy to put it in that basket of saying, well, that's a problem for over there.
Yeah.
Is what I think is happening most accurately, I guess.
Yeah, because I always wondered how that worked with you guys as far as helping them understand what we're doing. Because that's the problem our industry has. Until we bring in the non-smoker and understand what we're going through and why this is such an important product for us and why it works for us, is trying to get them to understand that it's difficult. And I can just imagine how difficult it is when you're talking about that group where they don't understand alcoholism, they don't understand tobacco or drug related issues, and it's got to be even tougher for that group, and trying to get them to understand that when they pride themselves on not being alcohol drinkers, smokers, and all that other stuff. So.
Well, I mean, I think if you look at it from a religious perspective, all those things are sort of seen as a kind of a theoretical, sin. So, when they don't have a dog in the fight necessarily, like you said, they don't think about it because it's just not part of their life. I think where a lot of that gets sort of the misguided stance on it is because we typically can't keep up with the messaging that is put out there that comes from a negative standpoint and might paint it more in a negative light than trying to sort of allow someone to critically think about why this exists in the first place. It's not like vaping was created to just piss people off. It was created.
It feels like it sometimes.
It works.
Yeah, I mean, you might think otherwise, but I'm just saying, people who don't have those challenges in life, right? They might look down the street and see a smoker and they're like, oh, he smokes, that's disgusting. But they don't understand that also the challenge of trying to leave that behind you and find a way to transition off of it. And so I don't think people get necessarily always the reality painting of why it's here. Now it's a lot more skewed and marred with the disposables and the whole kid epidemic and all that other stuff. It's even, makes it even look even worse with brain worms and all that other crazy stuff. Anyway, I'll shut up. That was just my
I do think you're making a really good. I think you make a really good point there with like at least messaging and how we're able or not able to keep up with it. Like really the rallying cry here that banned the flavors and the disposables and the vapes was to protect the kids. And then you really, you sit down with the lawmakers and you bring it up and you can talk stats and everything and how it's calculated and how they come up with the numbers, but they don't, when they don't have an idea of what like someone getting off of cigarettes is going through, then they're unsympathetic. It gives them a real, like they get their name in the paper for being hard on smoking or vaping, especially when national organizations or even every state has its own like anti-tobacco kind of organization that puts out information that the legislature uses that says, look, you can look right here. This is the danger and we're protecting these people. And it does get a little like prohibitionist and tyrannical, and Utah's known from time to time to go a little bit too hard in that direction, whether it comes to alcohol, vices in general here. So, they ban pornography, alcohol has to be bought at state liquor stores, only so many bar licenses. So people don't open new restaurants and cool hip places here. It's like, it's highly regulated. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it just goes a couple steps too far, which is what we feel like we're experiencing.
Yeah.
Not that they didn't have some of it right, but some of it, we think that they've gone way too far.
Well, eventually you'll get some of the craziness that's leaving California into Utah.
Oh, poor guys.
I was gonna
be too damn close to California. It's a dangerous thing.
Yeah.
Well,
I think so many Californians here is wild.
Well, I lived there for 5 years. I couldn't afford the mailbox in the front yard. It was a beautiful state, but I was in the wrong area completely down in San Diego, and I was there at the peak of the housing crisis, or that the housing market sort of explosion, and that's when like 1,100 square foot single level homes were costing like close to $1 million. So I was like, I had to come back east to kind of level the playing field a little bit. But let me make sure I have this right. So as I'm looking at the screen, is James on the top, Michael on the bottom, correct? Do I have that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So my question is for Michael, right? Because we're kind of talking more and we're kind of gleaning more to where Michael was going to pick up the conversation. But the word prohibition was mentioned. So in your adventures with state officials, government officials, and stuff like that, did they hear any of your battle cry in their fight to effectively ban flavors and send vaping closer to the black market? Do they hear any of that when you say like, well, where do you think people are going to go naturally next? If you're going to take it off the shelves and ban it from that perspective, what about citizens and harm in the black market? Did they listen to any of that, or is that just not bothering them?
They listened. I really don't think they care. That's
scary. That's actually very scary.
They just don't care. They got to save those kids. I mean, They'll
Yeah.
listen to it, but they don't care. That they're single-minded. Now, having said that, we did have the opportunity that James brought up that, somehow at one of these political conventions that my wife attended, I went just as her partner to learn something new that day. But I did run into Sean Reyes, the Attorney General, and I was out in the back vaping in the quad area, and him and his bodyguard walked out. And the guy's about 7 foot tall. So I walked up to him, kind of like, hey, non-threateningly, and I said, hey, Mr. Reyes, good speech, but you sound like you're proud that the state of Utah just banned vaping. I said, why is that? Do you realize, millions of people vape. We use it to get off of cigarettes, and now it's going to go black market, and this is going to make things even worse. Kids are going to get it even easier.
Sure.
They were told they really don't care. Now, I thought he was going to be pushy a little bit, but he actually gave me his phone number and said, hey, call my office and maybe we could set up a meeting. So we did that. And my wife and I went up there. She went as a state delegate, but that was just kind of on the side. And then I went up there to talk about the vaping issue. And the people in his office were very receptive, way more friendly than I thought they were. They said, well, I wish we could just make it where age-restricted shops like yours, responsible shops, that we could just leave it like that. But that's not what they're doing here. So he said, I'd like to have you meet with Adam Stewart, the president of the Senate. And he's the #1 guy in the whole Senate. And also Jennifer Plum will be there. She's the lady who wrote up the ban. And Mike Kennedy, as a senator, was on Zoom. And there was another
Cullimore, co-sponsor of the bill.
Yeah, Cullimore, co-sponsor. He was there. So wife and I are sitting in a room with 4 senators. And I thought it was very nice of them all to meet with us. And we had a nice chat. Jennifer Plum was kind of silenced in the corner because she kept spouting out, we got to save the kids. But the other senators were kind of like, let the deacons talk. And my wife doesn't take too much gruff from anybody. And then she kind of pushes back politely. And the meeting ended, and they agree that they wish they could come up with a solution where people could still have access to vaping products in a responsible way in an age-restricted shop. And then we left it at that, with our fingers crossed. But sure enough, it was as if the meeting never happened. That I never really heard back from them, other than just thanks for having the meeting, real short thing. But
what I find funny is they want to create new laws and regulations for vaping and e-liquid, but leave the same ones that they have for cigarettes. Why can't the ones that they have implemented for cigarettes work for e-liquid? It should be the same.
The same thing. It's money. Yeah. Master settlement agreement funds have dropped 50% since people have quit, or even more than that. Their funding is dried up, so they need a new enemy. The new enemy is now nicotine, so they renamed the enemy from cigarettes to nicotine.
Yep.
And that gets all these NGOs that make money all over the globe. It gets them a bigger paycheck. So now they have somebody new to fight. Their paychecks are still there, but they don't care about people struggling for smoking. They just want to be paid. And they're getting their paychecks, but everybody else is suffering. And that's how the system is now.
Yeah. And let me get this out. In 2025, Utah major new vape laws included bans on sales of flavored e-cigarettes and products not authorized by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. These changes were enacted by Senate Bill 61 in 2024, but have been subject to legal changes that alter their enforcement. You want to go into, because that's what you guys are fighting right now, correct?
Oh, yeah. This is a mess.
Maybe James can pick it up here, but we are members of the Vapor Association, and we have a lawsuit with them, and we're the named plaintiff. Our store, the Smokehouse, for the whole state. They asked somebody in Salt Lake area to do it. We have a clean record. We said we would do it, and the next thing we know, we're the named plaintiff. And
it works.
And it's in appellate court now, Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals in the federal side. But
and
I don't have high hopes.
Yeah, basically,
you don't.
No, not
sales.
I have
Yeah,
very little hope actually.
Sales banned on flavored vapes, restrictions on non-FDA approved products, legal challenges, and what is that? Blocking upheld that flavored vapes banned in March of 2025. Failed and forced to appeal the ban in early 2025. The bill was introduced into Utah. You still do now? Okay, is online mail ordering still a thing there, or is that's you're shaking your head and you're
no, they banned that years ago here.
They banned it here before almost anybody else.
You're right. You're correct, because I think we could not. I don't think Zamplebox was able to sell into Utah. I think you could only. Yeah, that's right. You're right. I remember that was on my list. Anytime when I was doing their IG page, when I was running their IG page, I had a list of places that where boxes weren't allowed, and I remember seeing Utah on that list. Yeah. Well, it took Gavin Newsom a while to figure out how to stop that, and when he banned the flavors here, he left that part open, and then realized that can't happen. So he tried to tax it. Anything that was coming in got double taxed, and then now finally here in California is completely banned. So. I can't get a bottle of flavored liquid here sent into California whatsoever. So I wasn't too sure on how that worked with you guys.
Yeah, so it's banned, but the internet's a big place.
Yes, it is.
You hear, people find a way to order online, and they have stuff brought in.
Yeah.
And so it's a vicious cycle for the lawmakers. They they want to tax it, and then people find a workaround. They try to ban it online. People find a workaround.
Yeah.
We've always
been the community of trying to find a runaround. Yeah, that's what we've been known for.
We've been made to do that.
It's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. I think being that we constantly were looking for loopholes, we weren't trying to fix the issues, and I think that was a big problem we had since 2012. It's like, they don't understand our industry. They don't understand how our industry works. They don't understand how our product works. So anytime they wrote rules and regulations for vaping, we found loopholes. It's like, okay, well, we can get around this by doing this, instead of just focusing on trying to fix the main issue. And I think that that is one of the problems we've had. We've been known as the loophole community for quite some time. But you guys will both agree, James and Michael, they've gotten smarter. They're writing regulations now that make sense and kind of put a damper on in situations where you guys have to close a shop down. It's crazy. It
is crazy, and they are severe. So here in Utah, there's the federal side, federal laws that we're all paying attention to, and then there's what happens in your state. Right. And what happens here is we put up a big fight, and we went to court about SB 61. That's what our lawsuit was about. That was a big flavor ban here. That's why Mike talked to the senators, and really what you come to find out over time is the senators, by and large here, they're not vapors, and they're smart people and they're good people. Like, you can get in contact with your lawmaker in Utah in a different way, in a way that you just can't in California. Yeah. And so people are. I was surprised
to hear Michael got a sit down. That's friggin' crazy.
Yeah, I think more people in the vape community should really strive to reach out to their local representatives and their local lawmakers, and not in a bro-y way. Be very these are good people. They're really doing a service. They think they're doing a service to the state. And most of them have no idea about the issues that they regulate. They're lawyers or business people or whatever, and they know about their thing, and they've had a certain level of success in their life, but they don't know this issue. We know this issue. They're not the experts here. We're the experts here. Yeah. And so they just don't know, and they need to hear from more people. I really think that would move the needle in important ways. Yeah. If they just heard from more people regularly.
And I wanted to add with respect to the lawsuit, that what they're trying to do, and what we fought them in court, and they limit what you can talk about in court. And one of the things was search and seizure. The state had that in their law, where we're the only, as far as I know, we'd be the only kind of business that the cops could just walk behind your counter whenever they feel like it. Yeah. Go through your safe, go through your drawers, and give you a hard time, take whatever they want, and write you a ticket. or take you away. I don't know.
Yeah.
So the state is still to this day, very day, trying to fight because that's what the judge removed. Because the ban was supposed to go into effect in December, but we fought him in court, and Judge Barrow says, they can sell it until we resolve the lawsuit. And his resolution was, we will remove the search and seizure and make the law go into effect. I believe it was March 20th.
Yeah.
So that happened, but they're still trying to put search and seizure back in.
Yeah.
Just
of course.
A dead horse.
That's mafia style, man. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's mafia.
Well,
Sorry. I'm from New Orleans. So.
You were talking about, not understanding, our system. And I get where you're going with that. But like Tim and I and a few of us that have talked about before, they have interns, and a lot of those interns do vape. And a lot of those interns do a lot of the speaking for and Twitter accounts and social media stuff. Have you guys tried to, try to have a conversation with some of the interns and see how many of them are actually vaping, and see if they can whisper in some of these senators' ears that, this is working for them?
Well, when we had the meeting with these 4 or 5 senators, there was a bunch of interns sitting around the room, all kind of giving us thumbs up, like they're on our side. And they asked for copies of the paperwork we gave to everybody. And because during the talk, I handed them each a fact sheet, and they all put their hands out too. And luckily, I had printed extras because.
Good.
And I think if it ever came up to a vote, all the customers support vaping.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people out there that do support us. I don't know. I feel like a fair election, it would be resolved. But then I'm reminded, no, this is Utah we're talking about. We got the church here. They're going to vote however the prophet or the.
Hey, we're in California. You remember we have special elections all the time out here. Somehow they find money. First they say they don't have money, but then they find money to have a single special election.
Yeah.
I wanted to go through a couple of the restrictions on that. I think this is all part of the what was it? Senate Bill 61. You can let me know if they're not. The age restriction is the minimum age to purchase, possession, or use of tobacco vaping products in Utah's 21. Indoor vaping ban. Utah Indoor Clean Air Act prohibits vaping in all enclosed indoor places and public spaces. The buffer zone. I love the buffer zone. Vaping is not permitted within 25 feet of any entranceway or exit, air intake, or building where smoking is prohibited. We have that here. Of course, you know that.
Shop has it,
I'm willing to bet whoever wrote that part in was someone from California that said, hey, you know what? We need to do this.
Ours is 50 feet.
Yeah. This one is the one that, this is the one that I think is in vehicle ban with minors. That one, I can just imagine someone being pulled over for vaping, and they may have a child in the back seat of the car, and they just, forget that they're back there, and they hit their pen by accident. And next thing you know, they've got a $300 ticket for vaping in a car with a child in it.
Probably can smoke though, but not vape.
Exactly. You can smoke all you want with the kid back there.
How many of us had parents that smoked in the cars with us all the time, and now they're going to say, this is going to get people? No, come on.
I don't know. You're making me laugh, because if that's true, if you can smoke in your car with a kid back there and not get in trouble, but if you got a vape pen, Jesus Christ. I hope that's not the way it works over there. I hope it's for both, right? It's got to be for both.
Got to be.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I mean, can you chew gum and drive? I mean, it can't be that difficult.
Yeah. With you guys having the shop, this is something I noticed out here, and I'm kind of wondering, as far as law enforcement, do you get the sense that they kind of think this is stupid, that they're doing this, or because these are, I'll be honest, I've seen, I know I'm going to say this out loud, but I've seen cops buying vape stuff, and flavored e-liquid.
Yeah. I think
they don't give a shit.
The The problem here in Utah is for a store like ours, we have what's called a tobacco specialty license.
Right.
And they moved all vapes into the tobacco category years ago so that, to have these stores, you're a specialty store, you have a specialty license, and it comes with like a lot more supervision. We're policed harder, and we have several policing agencies.
Oh, okay.
The problem, one of our major issues that we deal with here is that convenience stores, gas stations are policed differently than smoke shops or vape shops. So vape shops and smoke shops, specialty license, special policing. We get like the regular police come in and do like checks on us, fake shoppers and stuff like that.
Okay.
We also have the health department. We have the ag department, and they check on like CBD stuff, things like that.
Yeah.
And we also get the tax commission coming in, making sure that all the tobacco we have is paid the Utah tax. Right. So the problem is they write these laws, or at least in our state, here's how it functions, which is terrible, is if you're known to the state by having the specialty license. And our penalties are extremely severe. Even like they can close your store down for 30 days on like a first or second offense. A second offense, they'll close you down for good. And so we have these severe consequences. But if a gas station is selling flavored vapes or something that the state deems, they get a slap on the wrist. It's a really mild penalty for them. Yeah. So we deal with like this 2-tiered policing system. In addition to, and it hurts like when they try to pass the flavor ban, it's not the specialty stores that were policed harder that were selling to underage. It was a lot of these like kind of pop-up convenience store, gas station type places. And they have all the violations, but it would require a lot of work for them to write a law to police gas stations. And gas stations and convenience stores have a huge lobby.
They have that we've talked about how huge their lobby is. Their lobbyists are for the convenience stores and how powerful they are throughout the whole nation. It's insane.
But I would think that at some point they would realize that they can't take the same material and treat it completely different in the same basic positions. I mean, on the shelves, in other words. They can't say, oh, you can get it here and you can't get it here. I mean, I would think that would be obvious, but
you would think
they've done it. They've done it apparently.
It's not that obvious to them.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, that is Paul. Paul, say hello to James and Michael. Paul's coming to us all the way from Australia. Hi, Mike.
Welcome.
G'day,
tickets. No.
We do.
No Fosters. Don't even go there. I've got a question. I've got a question for both of you guys.
Yeah.
Here in Australia, we've got a complete ban, and unless you go to a pharmacy, has any of your lawmakers tried looking at a pharmacy type law? So you have to go to a pharmacy to actually get a vape or a liquid?
No, not that I know of.
I don't want to give them that idea because they'll probably like the idea.
Yeah, they probably would.
I avoid retweeting from Australia. When that subject comes up, I don't even really like to retweet because I don't want somebody to read it and, great idea.
Here's you got a $5 copay.
Well, the really interesting part is now, and you guys need to know about this. So far, we're up to almost 300 firebombings of shops.
Mm-hmm. That I have paid attention to.
In the tobacco wars. But now, the bigger kicker is now they're burning down people's houses instead of the shops. And that is not even being mentioned here in the media.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out why that is. What's up with that?
Think about this. Okay. So a store-bought packet of cigarettes here in Australia is around 55 to 70 Australian dollars per packet. And a under-the-counter packet is 10 Australian dollars, which equates to about $7.50 US at the moment. Right? Think about that for a minute. Think about the economics. That's where it gets really, really, really sketchy. And if you're to roll your own cigarettes, it used to be like $36 for 50 grams of tobacco. Now you're up at $150 to $165 for 50 grams of tobacco. So I hope you guys, and I follow Utah for other reasons, but you guys have just been put under the screws like we are, but in a different way.
A different way.
Yeah, Australia blows me away. After the last article I wrote, I write a Substack about vape issues.
And everybody needs to go read his Substack. Go ahead and tell us where you're at.
I think it's just Thought Smoke at Substack. I'm not very tech savvy. It's only been the last couple months that I've been.
You have a few underscores in there.
He's good. He's good. Y'all need to read him.
There's an underscore at the end of Thought Smoke.
Way to post it.
Between the two words.
Yeah, no space. I don't know. On Substack, I think it's just Thought Smoke.
Okay.
But yeah, I had a lot of people from Australia reach out after the last one and saying like, oh, this really resonates with how I feel. And I was basically just inspired to write because one of the harm reduction champions on our side was talking about, oh, sometimes there's bad consequences that happen, even though we don't mean them to. And I studied philosophy. I like to argue. And it just got me thinking a lot about like, well, it's one thing to be well-intentioned and still have something bad happen to good people. And in Australia, it feels like they're not allowed to talk common sense at all out there. I mean, my heart really breaks for you guys. And I think the black market makes sense. I can understand why if like any rational person who's working a job would be like, I'd rather pay $10 for a pack of cigarettes than 100 or whatever number you said. Like, yeah, I'll do that. And then if you're a real store who's like really trying and maybe trying to like do something under the table, I could see how criminals say, no, this is our territory now. And it creates a scary situation. It's enforced by the government. And then there's outlaws that are, willing to go that extra mile. I think it's a terrible situation you guys are dealing with.
Yep. It's like the 80s. It's like the 80s with your buddy that had, had everything, it's like we wanted something, he had it, you 2 for $5, I hate going there, but that's where it's going. Tax and regulations. You guys this bill also added a 56 cents per manufacturer sales price to apply to e-cigarette substance and pre-filled devices. That was part of that bill too, as well.
56%.
Yeah. And
that's crazy.
Retail. This is the
it
one.
It is on the wholesale side, that tax.
The wholesale.
Yeah.
So if you came out here and bought a legal product, you'd be like, why is it so much more expensive than where I live? It's because of that tax. So we get our store is really close to people traveling up to Park City to go skiing. We get a lot of people who travel and stop and see us.
Yeah.
We have that conversation a lot.
Retail sales must occur through face-to-face exchange. I like that. And online phone sales are prohibited for most individuals. So, I can't call ahead and get my order, huh?
Yeah.
Kind of a double-edged sword for us. Yeah.
So,
kind of good away, but bad. Brings in more customers.
I like going through those.
Hang on. So if someone calls through to your store, right, and puts in an order, they have to pick it up face to face. Like, there's no like. Okay.
Yeah, mom can't pick it up.
Huh?
Yeah. We cannot ship most of our products.
No.
Anything with tobacco.
No. What I'm saying is, so I can call your store, and if I'm going skiing, I can stop off and pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it would be real like it would have to be you. You'd have to call, hey, I just got off the plane. I'm going up to Park City. I Googled you guys. I know you're on my way.
Yeah.
Do you have any e-liquid? We'd be like, yeah, we have menthol and tobacco. It's what we have to sell. Great. Save me a menthol. You're like, that's one thing. That's easy enough to be like, yeah, I have tons of it at the store, so it's not a big deal.
But his wife can't come and pick it up.
Yeah, no.
Right.
Whoever walks into our store, no matter what, is getting ID'd and making
As
that
long as they
purchase.
can pass the ID check.
Yeah, I like going through it. Like I would go through, like, every time some new city or state goes through some sort of situation you guys are going through. I like going through the changes in the regulations because some of them make me laugh, and it's just like, okay, are they getting smarter, or are they just stupid regulations that make absolutely no sense at all? But for some reason, that congressman, that senator thinks this is going to work. This is going to be the one thing that's going to make the difference. And when I start looking at
some, care if it works. They just want it to sound good to save the kids.
They don't just sound.
Yeah. We know it's not going to work. We've shown them in advance, and it's not going to work. And
no, it isn't. And that's the thing that makes me laugh. And I even have some of my friends that bring it up in conversation a lot. It's just like they don't understand that. Okay, in 2012, they went ahead and they said this is a tobacco product. That was the downfall of the vape industry, is us just giving in and saying, okay, we'll go and if we can't have all this, but you're going to give us this, and we'll get to keep our stuff, which we should have known better wasn't going to happen. That's like them telling you, your boss telling you, well, I'm going to have to take 50 cents away from you right now because we're not making money, but I promise I'll give it back to you later. It's never coming back to you. No. And it's the same feeling I had in 2012. It's just like, hey, we'll let you have all this stuff, but we're going to label it as a tobacco product. And I'm thinking to myself, no. They don't do shit like that unless they've got plans ahead of time in future years of what they plan on doing. So when I talk to them, they give me this look. It's like, well, okay, this is considered a tobacco product, correct? I say, yeah. Why doesn't it have the same rules and regulations as a pack of cigarettes? Why can't an adult go into a convenience store and buy e-liquid? But he can go in there and buy a carton of fucking cigarettes and nobody gives a shit, or he can go in and if he wanted to apply alcohol to it, that guy can go in there and buy 5 bottles of Jack Daniels. Nobody's going to give a crap, But God forbid if that guy, that 50-year-old guy goes into a convenience store and wants, I'm sorry, Tim, mango.
You don't have to apologize to me.
No, they get in the uproar, and
he's jabbing me. I know he is.
But that's what makes me laugh, and I'm glad that some of my friends see that differences that's going on and why they don't understand as well as I don't, and all of us here on this panel, why there's such a difference between these two products. If they're both considered a tobacco product, why doesn't the same rules and regulations that apply to cigarettes apply to e-liquid?
I think the premise is different. I think about this a lot. I think you're touching on something that's like real important, and it's hard to describe. But when you start to really dive in, I think one of the major things that I've started to look at is that there's some long plays that are happening. Big tobacco is eager to take over the entire vape market, and they can
we were stolen from them.
The real, they didn't adopt the technology early. All vaping, all e-liquid companies, even the ones you think were the big dogs, we're small. We're all small potatoes compared to big tobacco.
Yep.
And what these guys are doing state by state, each legislative session, and they're working with the convenience store lobbies and these other lobbies, is they can wait it out for a long time. They can buy Juul and watch it tank only to relaunch it a year or two later. They have the money, they can do these things. So I think there's some long plays that are happening. And that's in part why it's so frustrating. Because it does seem crazy when you're looking at it and you say, why can't anyone figure out that these are two distinct areas that should be regulated distinctly and separately? Because it benefits a couple of major players. And it's a couple of arguments I've had with folks on Twitter, some guys that are like for tobacco harm reduction, but they lobby for, Juul or Views or whoever. And they're really smart guys and they're really good. And they move the needle in the direction that helps everyone interested in vaping. But where I disagree with them from time to time is like that tightrope that they walk as being like a champion and just being part of the problem by being quiet, while all the small companies, the entire community of vapors is being wiped out little by little. And these guys they're going to swoop in and they'll have the entire market share at every convenience store to sell their products.
Yeah.
And I think they're happy to do that. That's in part the problem.
Yeah, they tried early when they started buying some of the big name e-liquid companies, and people just kind of sat back and let that happen. I mean, there's not much you can do. I mean, if you want to sell, you sell. I mean, you're gonna sell to the highest bidder. Some companies, some mom and pop e-liquid companies. I won't call them mom and pops because they were big companies that sold to big tobacco. How do you feel about, all right, let me, because this is a question we ask a lot of people on our show, but how do you feel if big tobacco took over and they still had a quality product and they didn't try to alternate? Would you still be okay? Would you still be a vapor? Would you still be okay with them having owning an e-liquid company that we know and trust it now that they own? And you see where I'm getting with it, because there's some people in our industry that in the early days that were like, if big tobacco buys this company, I'm out. I'm never touching that e-liquid again. I'm done. And I can understand why they would do that. Let's be honest. We were all lied to as smokers that this wasn't going to kill us. And then all of a sudden now we find out, this is killing us.
Yeah. I think I'm of two minds of it. Like, from a small business perspective, I hate it. I want to champion the small guys, and I want to remain pure and not sell out or be part of that process. For consumers and users and people who want a safer option, you're like, yeah, I mean, I would. I think one thing that is important for all of us to remember, everyone in the vape community, is like the science is on our side. This is safer. It does reduce your harm. It's hard to put Pandora, for the state legislatures. It's really hard for them to put that back in the box. It is safer. More and more studies confirm it all the time. They keep moving the goalposts, but like, it doesn't matter. It's significantly safer. So consumers, you're like, yeah, if big tobacco just dominated the market and came out with quality products that people enjoyed, you're like, would society be better off because it's safer? Sure. But then your next question gets into like, I don't know. I'm libertarian at heart. I like small business. I really care about people and like, so it bothers me that these big behemoths get to bully everyone out of the market by using the government, which I think is bullshit. Like, it frustrates me.
And I can add that the quality is just not there with big tobacco, and the profits. They mark everything up so much that it's hard to sell at a selling price that customers want, because there's no money in it for the seller.
Yeah, there's no money on the other end.
Yeah, whereas these quality, disposables, you can get. These are some quality vapes coming out of China.
Yeah,
some people don't like them, but they're miles ahead of some of the stuff big tobacco has.
Right. Tim, we have that $1 million question we always like to ask our guest about. Which one I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, it's I guess you could call it a hypothetical, right? So I asked this question to a lot of the guests that come on the show, and so it's pretty straightforward, and all answers are acceptable here. So there's no wrong answer here, and then just know it's a hypothetical question. So here's the situation. If you could remove one thing from vaping in general, one thing across the entire spectrum of vaping, if you could take one thing away, and all the legislators said, if you sacrifice that one thing, you can keep all the rest, what would be the one thing you could concede about vaping in general that you could say, if that went away, I could live with that going away as long as I get everything else?
I would say number one, without a doubt, would be the damn deeming regulation, because there is no tobacco in vapes, in e-liquid, zero. And that is the basis of all the laws that are fighting vaping. Get rid of the deeming regulations, and they're out to lunch.
Yes,
that they'll have to come up with a new regulation just to address e-liquid.
I agree. I agree.
That is such a good answer. I went in a completely opposite direction, thinking silly. I was like, I would get rid of vape bros. You're like the real guys that were like, oh, dude, it's my thing and you don't do it right or whatever. Like that entire attitude, I think, has kept some people from vaping. Your answer is so much better than mine.
Yeah.
My answer is just get rid of the damn mangoes.
No, hey, watch it, lady. Watch it, lady.
Hey, we're just being, we're thinking out loud here.
I want to commend both of you guys for not saying disposables. I was waiting for one of you guys to say I would get rid of Chinese disposables if it would save the industry. And I'm glad that you guys didn't go that route.
Thank you. Thank you. As an old person, I appreciate that. I don't use them, but I might one day. I might need them one day.
They help the elderly. I see a lot of old people come in, and they just can't work those little. They can't see it. Those little displays. Yeah. It works good for them.
Well, there's been a menagerie of answers. Some of the other answers included things like eliminating like 50 milligram nic salts and things like that. Like the high, if the fear is
that's fine
volume of nicotine and saving the kids, you get rid of the 50 milligram. And
age restricted shops. I mean, that was all of it, but I know that one.
But then the reason why it's one of those questions where it kind of hits at the advocacy person or the THR, the tobacco harm reduction advocate is like, well, you can't take anything away because it's such a spectrum of products that work for everybody, right? So not everybody can use a 3 or a 6 milligram. They might need to wean down to that. Somebody needs a 50 milligram because they were a 3-pack a day smoker and they need some kind of a relevant transition to be able to get off of it. So it's just interesting to hear what people personally would be okay with getting rid of. Now, Paul, I don't know, you probably still watch the Bogan, but it was funny today. He had on a t-shirt today, and I saw one of his videos that said "fuck disposables." So we kind of know where his sentiments are.
Look, when Sam was still living here in Australia and he had his liquid line, he was doing very, very well. And because of who he was associated with and his distribution network, now he's reformulated what he got into in the UK, and he now has his liquids in some of the pharmacies here in Australia.
Wow.
Look, kudos to him, but I won't support that side of the model ever. I never have and I never will.
Yeah,
because
that's the problem
I lost my business. Right?
No. I'm saying, Paul, that's the problem he's going to have, because there's a lot of diehards like you that are vapors that are in Australia that still love Bogan, but they're not going to adopt that format just to support Bogan. Correct?
No way. No way. Exactly. No way in the world. And I lost my business years ago. And you guys in Utah, when I was ghost mixing under numerous names for numerous companies, and Utah was one of my top states in the US where liquids were going into, and Matt Cully coming out of Utah as well. He used to, test drive a lot of the liquids that I used to work on, and I miss you guys there, even though it's really weird, right? It's a really weird state in the US. That's all I can say about it, right? I'm not going to be an asshat, but Utah is a really, really, really weird state.
Yeah. I'm going to play this video, guys. Make sure that you guys hear it. So sometimes the sound works, sometimes it doesn't. I don't know. I'm not an IT guy.
A small victory today for vape shops in Utah. A federal judge sided with vape shops.
Hold on. Let me do that again. I know what happened.
I can hear it, though.
You can't hear it? Okay, yeah. All right, perfect. Let me.
A small victory today for vape shops in Utah. A federal judge sided with vape shops, at least in part, suing Utah over its ban last year on flavored e-cigarettes. News specialist Brian Carlson has this story live in the newsroom. So, Brian, what did vape shops win in this particular ruling?
Well, Cher, the ruling blocked Utah from enforcing part of the law the federal judge deemed to be unconstitutional. But the ban on flavored vapes in Utah still stands. So here's what happened. Last year, Utah passed Senate Bill 61, known as the Electronic Cigarettes Amendments. The bill essentially bans the sale of electronic cigarettes not authorized from the FDA and flavored e-cigarettes. So to determine if any vape shop is complying with the law, Utah gave itself the authority to go into those shops and take e-cigarettes in violation without a warrant. And that's the part that Judge David Barlow had an issue with. He granted an injunction against warrantless searches and said you can take that part of the law out and the rest still works. Utah Attorney General Derek Brown said this of the ruling, quote, "I am thrilled that Utah will now be able to better protect children from the harms of tobacco. Our attorneys have worked tirelessly on this case to defend Utah's law, and I'm confident their advocacy moving forward will continue to be excellent. Their work is crucial in preventing kids from getting hooked on nicotine." Now, the goal of the law at the time was reduce the number of Utah teenagers who vape and ban vape shops from selling products that could get them addicted. So the ban still stands, but Utah can't go into those vape shops to take those products without a warrant. Back to you.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what you were talking about earlier, Mike, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Derek Brown was another one we talked to, and who said he supports our industry.
I have a question for you guys.
I didn't see that clip before, but sure enough.
Go ahead, Michelle.
Thank you. When do y'all, or what do y'all feel about the pouches that have been FDA pushed ahead of e-cigarettes?
I like them.
How does that?
I mean, I like.
Is that going to affect y'all?
I use them on an airplane personally, but for the customer's point of view, they're wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm for harm reduction of, vape 95% safer on vaping. Pouches are right up there. I'm not sure what the percentage is.
Are more kids doing those now that you guys see over there?
No less.
There was right after the ban, there was a bump in our sales when it came to the pouches, and now that's starting to taper off a little bit.
Yeah.
Really what's interesting is at first everyone found, they found places to buy online or go out of state and get, the disposables they wanted or the flavors. And then, it's inconvenient and it's hard. You can't always make it to Vegas and back if you live in Salt Lake.
Or Wyoming.
People bought a lot of Zens and Rogue and whatever the other brands that are out there. Then now more people are starting because they bought Juuls and Vuses to get by, but it's just economically not. Yeah. It doesn't work for a lot of people. So now we're going back to selling a lot more like the Novos with the pods and the refillables. And then people will buy their own menthol and tobacco. And we're allowed to sell Twist and Naked. It's like this menthol and then Naked's Crisp menthol, the two that are approved to sell here in Utah, along with their tobacco lines. And so now that folks, if they're stuck getting Juul menthol and getting ripped off buying a 4-pack of pods, they'd rather buy one of these and 60 milliliter bottle of juice.
60 ml bottle, yeah.
So we're starting to see that turn. People are moving that direction.
All right, $1 million question here. What one flavor would you get rid of? Don't say mango.
Come on. Help me out here.
Nothing left to get rid of. Except menthol and tobacco.
Everybody I know, but everybody hates a certain e-liquid flavor. What is your disliked flavor?
Blueberry. Anything with blueberry. Blue raz, like all of them. I'd get rid of every blueberry flavor.
Blue raz, I thought was going to be great. You know what I mean? And
it gets you every time. Every time you're like, that sounds so satisfying, and it's just terrible
because it brings back those memories of the slushy machine, and you think it's going to be identical, and then you go and hit it, and you're like, not even close.
It's the worst
flavor.
How about you, Michael? What's that one flavor you've tasted and you're like, okay, this ain't working?
Probably, I got to agree with Blueberry. It's good for the first few hits, and then it just kind of falls flat for the rest of the bottle.
I'm surprised y'all didn't say cherry or something.
Cherry,
no, Mike likes cherry. It's like his favorite.
Cherry for years. We made it at J Juice, our little e-liquid company.
But so many of them are terrible. I mean, cherries.
They're so bad.
Yeah,
grapes are hard. Strawberries are hard. They all remind you of cough syrup.
Yeah.
What? Strawberry is one of the easiest flavors to work with. Believe it or not.
Yeah, for a long period of time there in the beginning, everything was strawberry. Everything. It was just like you couldn't get around it. It was just like, oh no, we have 15 different strawberries. I go, how? How's it possible that you have 15 different strawberries? Well, this is ripe strawberry. This is candy strawberry.
It's very easy because in the market now there's 72 different strawberries that you can work with to make a liquid. Yeah. And look, and blueberry, I have to agree, but blueberry also enhances other berries in the back end. Like when you're thinking about
it's popular. We sell a lot of it. It's just my cup of tea. It just doesn't work for me. But it is one of our more popular flavors we sell to customers for sure.
I did for a while. Now really bad. Anytime I have guava has become that one flavor where I just, it doesn't seem to work anymore for me, man. And anytime
what's it? I've actually got one here. It's what's this one? Grapefruit, guava, and lemon, and it works.
Yeah. Oh, that might.
Have you guys made your own e-liquid before?
That guy down there does.
Paul's a wizard. He's a scientist.
So Paul, we used to manufacture e-liquid, and so you have all the flavors from all the flavor houses. You get Capella's and Flavor West, like just everybody. I look at flavored drinks now differently.
Yep.
So during the summer, if I grab a case of like seltzers and we're going, going out, you're like, oh my God, what am I drinking right now? Are these, what's the black cherry, whatever?
Well, okay. Many years ago when I was still in the industry and we created something, or we were working with Capella at the time, okay? Mm-hmm. And Capella screwed up big time. You remember the sweet tea that came out of, where was it? And Capella screwed up big time. And they sent out a sweet tea flavor to all of us to test, and lo and behold, we broke it down because we had access to machinery, and they actually sent us the Arizona sweet tea like concentrate by accident. So,
oops.
Oops, they did it again. Yep, and we then worked with it because some of us got like a 10 ml bottle. I ended up with a liter of it for some ungodly reason. Same as the stuff that like Flavor Art used to send me. And lo and behold, we turned that sweet tea into so many different bases it wasn't funny. And then we figured out that if you added pineapple, mango, and peach to it, and you put like a 1 ml shot into vodka and soda, you had like a fruit salad. Oh man, that was
good. We're about out of time, but I wanted you two guys to talk a little bit about what you guys are looking forward to in the future here. What you guys are working on, and what are your hopes for some change there in Utah here soon, hopefully.
Yeah, I personally have high hopes for the industry at large, and then just here in the state. I think there's a lot of fights ahead. But I have a lot of belief in the science here that it is safer. And so I think the more kind of as vapors kind of come together and get organized and understand how their local law functions and how the federal law functions, I think there's a big movement of people who want healthier lifestyles generally. And this is one of those things that it's just better. And even if you're a parent who's never smoked and your 21-year-old, is vaping instead of smoking, that's like a huge health win across the country. I think people can start to see that, and they will start to see that, especially if restrictions come in and kids start smoking again. So then I think I don't know. I'm really I'm bullish on vaping across the board. I think it's going to be good.
That's not a bad thing to be bullish.
I don't think so. I think, being a doomer is like the worst. I don't do well with that. I like being positive and just keep getting the word out. I think more people if I could encourage everyone out there as best I can, just reach out to your lawmakers, find them on Instagram and Facebook and X, and be super polite and just say, hey, this is an issue I care about. We want common sense regulations, strawberry flavored whatever juice, help me quit. And I'm however many years. I think those messages are powerful. And I'd encourage everyone to do that often.
Yeah. We encourage a lot of people, even people on the outside looking in, do your own research. Don't believe everything you hear on either side. Do your own research. Just go. I know it's difficult because if you type in vaping in any browser, you're going to have to dig in about 8, 9, 10, maybe 15 pages deep to find a positive article, but it's there. You just got to look for it. And I think just that, grabbing Mendelssohn's book and reading that and just understanding that there's two sides to every issue, and just take the time to research both and understand them. Because we talked about it, just having people on the outside trying to understand what the smoker's going through and why this product works, I think is important, because everyone, we it's a sad thing, but everyone has someone that's died from cancer from smoking.
Everybody.
So everybody does. So you can say my parents never smoked, but you might have a cousin, an uncle that did and died from smoking. So I think it's important, and you bring up a good point. Just do your research, look around, talk to people. How about you, Michael?
Well, Michael's approaching retirement age, but I do have I am bullish on the overall market, long-term prospects of vaping. The science is just with the vapors and not with the smokers. Royal College of Medicine says it's 95% safer. I go with that, or Royal College of Physicians. And I think this pouches that we were talking about, the fact that they're fast tracking approval is a positive sign for our industry, because that means they're going to possibly look at fast tracking other harm reduction, because they know there's a problem. They're getting beat up too at the FDA, and something's going to break free.
They deserve it.
Yeah, they deserve it. Something will eventually have to break free, as long as we live in a free country. And that's another question we could talk about. But I think overall,
you don't go there.
We're in there for the long run. We're not planning on closing our doors. Things are tighter now, but we're in a position. We own our own shop. We can sell smoke and vape shop and the head shop.
Yeah,
we're there, and we're there to help our customers get off of cigarettes. And we've done so much of that over the years. I've had a few go back to smoking, but I always tell them, don't go back to smoking, and so I think it's good in the long run. It's just, can people financially wait long enough? Can these businesses wait long enough?
Yeah.
And before big tobacco takes them all over, or just has what they want on the market. And I don't know. I just have a positive view in the long run, but negative view right now.
Yeah.
And Michael, you did great for your first time.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Everybody's Michael's first time on a podcast. Yeah, baby.
The ice has been broken. Now
James here. He's really articulate.
Now he can come back again.
Yeah, he can come back. He might even start his own channel. He might even, who knows? This might have inspired him to start his own channel and just get out there. Real quick question. On a scale of 1 to 10, where would you rate your advocacy there in the state of Utah? the groups
as a
and
whole,
the people,
yeah.
the whole thing, the whole nutshell.
You probably like for vaping.
Yeah,
advocacy for vaping,
advocacy towards vaping in your
yeah,
community.
we have an organization that does put up a fight. It's more organized now than it was. We kind of went from a 3 to a 6.5 with this lawsuit really coming together. If I'm being real critical, but really the guys some of the guys at the Utah Vape Business Association, if you ever check out their website, they put in a ton of work. They've really been organized, and they kind of started as a small collection of guys and kind of by necessity needed more people in. So it was very kind of like, this is our group. And then it turned into, this is all of us. Let's organize this fight. And they really did a great job to do that.
Good.
Yeah.
And as far as, and I'll ask you too, as well, Michael, but how would you rate advocacy within the vape shop itself? Brochures? Are you seeing the shops? I know you're not going into other shops, but do you feel that shops are taking the initiative and educating their customers on what's going on?
I think some of them are. The specialty tobacco licenses, I'm a big part of that, in the Vapor Association.
Sure.
Certainly are. We've done a lot of, we're probably the tip of the spear on that. But I don't think very many of the convenience stores.
Well, you can write them off.
Yeah, they're not doing anything other than they're the ones that are selling mostly to the underage, according to the stats we've read.
I know it's a tough question. It's a question I like asking because I feel like that, we've always been known as the industry that started in the garage, and we're, down root industry. And I'm just wondering if shops are taking that initiative, letting their customers understand what's going on as far as like this bill in its own. Do you feel like their customers were educated by some of the vape shops or advocacy groups knowing that this was coming up? Let's show up in full force. Let's make sure our voices are heard. Do you feel that?
Not right, James?
Yeah, it wasn't enough. I mean, realistically, we got more organized, but as the SB 61 passed, and we were like, oh no, okay. Then it was like, let's get fighting, let's get materials out, let's get organized. So we organized as best we could, but it always felt like a little late. And then generally, once the ban did go through, in our store, we put up, we had like iPads that would send letters directly to our lawmakers, pre-written. We had donations, we had materials that we were passing out, but not enough shops did. Yeah. And we would get so many customers that would come and be like, whoa, this thing, like, can you believe they banned it? You're like, we've been fighting this for a year.
You really want to slap.
Where have you been?
See, that's how I started in advocacy. Is I'd go to like your shop and I'd see all the stuff that y'all had because you were doing it that way. And I knew from visiting and from living in all these states that nobody else does that. I mean, there hasn't been a lot of advocacy in the shops recently. They used to be everywhere. Every shop used to,
Yeah.
But I would learn from you guys and then start making my own copies and then drop it off to these shops that didn't have any. And they would turn around and put it right there. And I'd go back another week, to check on them to see. And it's like, come on, let me see it there. And most of it would always be there. Or they'd say, oh, I'm glad to see. I need some more. I forgot to make a copy, And that was really a big deal to me because there wasn't anybody that I knew. I'm sure there was people out there that was doing that kind of work. And I wasn't ready to get on the web and deal with all that,
That's how I fell into it. I mean, I got into vaping and I was excited. This helped me. I mean, from day one, I quit smoking. That first time, the first vape I hit, I never went back. I have not touched a cigarette in like 12, 13 years now.
Yeah.
But
awesome.
I wasn't paying attention in those early days. And I walked back into that only vape shop that we had in Modesto. And all of a sudden there was nothing on the counters underneath the glass. There was no more RDAs. There was no more wires. The poor kid that was making coils, help him pay for college. He was out of a job because he was 18 and he couldn't work in the vape shop anymore. So they had to fire that poor kid, and he had to go get another job somewhere because he was 18 and he couldn't be in the vape shop.
And he was in the perfect business for him. I mean, seriously.
He came in for like 3 hours a day, and he just made coils for people that came in that couldn't make coils. And I was like, where's all the RDAs? And then all of a sudden, all it was is sub-ohm tanks, maybe 2 or 3 devices. And I was like, no, this is not where I want to go. This is not where I want to be, and can I buy cotton? No, we can't sell cotton. We can't sell wire anymore. No more RDA. No more buildables. I was just like, okay, I guess I have no reason to be in here anymore. So I just like, and then I kind of started doing my advocacy and trying to figure out what I can do, to try to do our best to try to save it. So I appreciate both of you guys joining us today and sharing your story with us. We'd love to have you guys back anytime you want to come back.
Well, thank you so much for having us on, man. Appreciate
it. We love hearing your story, and we love that you guys are putting up a fight and not just washing your hands of it and walking away. And I mean, it's easy. James, you said you have a large family. I can understand. Hey, you have to supply money for this family, support this family, keep a roof over their heads. And when you have the government stepping in and telling you can't do something that should be okay to do, it's nonsense. It's nonsense.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You guys want to say goodbye to the boys?
Sure.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much for
coming on. SmokeVapeUtah.com on Twitter. I do a lot of.
Is there another handle?
This is Smoke Vape Utah.
Okay.
And
I think
there's a group of us, right? You're amongst them, and we're seeing more and more people jump on board. New people just commenting for the first time, so that helps the industry. That helps everybody.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure I got that right too. So while I have you still on, let me make sure.
Smoke Vape.
Yeah. No, I always try to get everybody's social media stuff. So I got the website as well. And then your X, I think I added it on there, but let me make double sure. There it is. Yeah. Let me put it up real quick.
Yeah. And we don't advertise products really on that website.
No.
I'm advocacy, It really is. So.
And there's your Twitter account, and I will put that on there as well. Yeah. And I'll put it in chat. Go give them a follow, guys.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And again, thank you again, gentlemen. It's always nice to hear stories of shops and two guys like you guys were working really hard and trying to do your best to keep the doors open and advocating for everyone, that's worldwide. I mean, I think we are. I hate saying it, but we're kind of the example for the rest of the world. And I think if we can get our shit together, I think it'll change things in some of the other places like India, Australia, China. The list goes on where it's actually banned. It's period banned. Like you can't get shit. Yeah.
I appreciate what Paul's doing over there in Australia. I don't even can imagine what time it is.
What? It's 11:30 in the morning here.
Yeah.
Okay. Very nice.
In winter time, right?
No, it's summer, you idiot.
Yeah, you're opposite. I was going to say,
I'm just messing with you, Paul. I'm messing with you.
It's perfectly okay for you guys to ask what the lottery numbers are too.
Yeah, he's in the future.
Yeah, because I'm in the future. It's 9, 11, 13, 20, 27.
It's so hot.
I'm a day ahead of you guys.
Yeah, it's so hot. Paul's not even drinking a Foster's. No, I'm kidding, Paul. I'm kidding.
He doesn't like Foster's.
You're better off drinking a bottle of mango e-liquid.
Don't do that.
Look. Don't even go there with Foster's anymore, John. The joke
I
is
know.
dead, right?
I know. It's still October, right? So it's Oktoberfest. So drink your German beers, guys. Get out there, find your German beers, and drink your German beers.
Oh, yeah,
There
really
you
good
go.
Belgian beers. Really good
Oktoberfest.
Belgian beers, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, some Belgian beers.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we are out of here. Thank you again, James. Thank you again, Michael, for joining us. You guys
Thank
are
you, guys.
always welcome back. Any news you get or updates, please let us know. I am on Facebook. I will follow you guys. So if you guys come up with anything that's coming, you got some new news you want to share, you can come on the show. We always love having new guests come back on and share good news and sometimes bad news. Sometimes bad
So
news.
when everything gets over and you're getting ready to open 5 shops,
Oh, we're gonna have a party.
let us know.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, this channel,
Or before.
when this is all said and done and they leave us the hell alone, I am going to have
God.
the biggest vape party you've ever seen on here. I'm going to go hook up to Zoom. I'm going to have 1,000 people on there. I'm just going to
Well,
nobody's
let me
going to
know before I
understand.
cancel my accounts on the web because I'm going to cancel them.
Yeah,
I'm going to say adios, bye.
yeah. All right, guys, we'll see everybody next Wednesday. Everybody look into the camera and say goodbye. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.